Hey guys, I'm Ethan Moore from Stockman Supply, and today I want to talk about sliding head and swivel head machines and what those features will actually do for a wood turner and whether you should consider them the next time you are in the market for a lathe. Now the lathes I'm going to be showing here are the Coronet Envoy and Coronet Regent, and there's three main reasons I'm using these lathes in the video. And one is I like them, and two, not only do they slide, but they also swivel, so they do both, and three, they're on an incredible sale at the moment. So, and that's one other thing I should mention here. I will be talking a little bit about pricing in this video, and that's not something I normally do because it can become irrelevant really, really fast. So if you are watching this video in the future, it is June 2025 right now. The pricing I'm mentioning in this video is probably totally different now. You guys all know the world we live in, everything changes all the time. So please don't, and it's all in Canadian dollars as well. So to start with, what I want to talk about is a swivel head machine and the features that gives you. And probably the first thing that comes to mind is outboard churning. And that is probably one of the biggest features that you'll get with a swivel head lathe. Now this is a 24-inch diameter. That's not the maximum I can handle on here. But by turning that head 90 degrees, it allows me to not have to rely on the bed, my limit here, which is in this case 16 inches, but it really depends on the size or the positioning of the head compared to the outrigger. Or if you have a different model lathe, another lathe that's quite common that swivels, doesn't slide, but it does swivel, is a Rikon 701824. It will allow you to swivel that head 180 degrees rather than 90, and you can attach a bed extension to the side of it, and that gives you 27.5 inches of outboard capacity, which is kind of cool. So my favorite feature on a swivel head lathe isn't actually the outboard turning. While that is cool, it is actually doing this right here, turning that head on about a 15-degree angle, setting your banjo up, especially when you're turning a bowl or a platter. Normally, you guys all know this, but you'd have to turn over or lean over the bed to get access to that side right there. But in this case, I can stand nice and straight and have total control over where I want to turn. And at the same time, because that is swiveled, my tailstock, oftentimes you'd have to remove that tailstock from your machine because your tool will hit it as you're turning. But with this angle right here, my tool is, the tailstock's out of the way. So you don't have to remove that from your lathe, which is really, really, really nice. Now, a sliding headstock on a lathe gives you a couple unique features that can be really sweet. And one of them is kind of simple, but is important if you have a small shop. When you have the lathe here, you got the motor sticking out. And if I slide this over, if I'm doing a small project, that motor is over top of my bed. So it will make things a little bit more compact. While you lose some of your turning capacity, it can be nice if you have a small shop and you can move your lathe out when you need to turn bigger stuff. But the bigger thing with a sliding headstock on your lathe, it's all about comfort when you're turning, same as that swivel. So if I remove my tailstock altogether here, I slide my banjo down, and I slide my headstock down. Once again, rather than having to lean over the bed, I can stand comfortably right here and do my churning, especially on bowls and platters, far more comfortably with that sliding head. Now, on some lathes, the sliding head will also add a little bit of outboard capacity. So if we look right here at the Laguna 1836, it's another machine with a sliding head. If I were to slide the head all the way down the bed, you can, again, a bit like the Rikon, attach a bed extension to the bottom, and that will increase the overall turning capacity of this machine to 32 inches or 31 inches on the outboard. So you get a little bit of an increase as well, which is kind of cool. Now, the fact that the Coronet Envoy and Regent have both a sliding and a swivel, it gives you all the benefits of both, plus one other really unique thing. So right now, well, you heard the Rikon capacity is 27.5. The Laguna is about 31 to 32 inches on the outboard. Record Power advertises actually 39 inches, which is huge because my limit right here is from the center of my spindle to the outrigger. And the fact that I can slide this head right about to the center of your piece, my limit then becomes from here to here, which is 39 inches diameter, which is humongous. Now that is kind of a cool thing because also right now, these lathes are on an incredible deal. So you can buy an Envoy lathe plus the outrigger, it's about 160 bucks right now for $2,000 plus 160, or the Regent, which is an 18-inch swing lathe, and just under 3 horsepower for $2,500, and again, plus that outrigger is 160. So if you compare those current prices to the prices of the Rikon and Laguna, which would be very, very similar size, for about $2,000 less, you're actually able to turn even larger diameter with a whole lot more features because they will slide and swivel. So it's a really neat time to be a wood turner in Canada because these are such a good deal. Now there's one other thing I wanted to touch on, and I think it's important to talk about because it all has to do with outboard churning, and that is stands like this right here. And you guys, some people will make their own. There are some companies that used to make them. I think there's only, I'm not even sure if anybody still makes these or not because they're fairly dangerous to use in all honesty. But this is a tripod. Now this isn't one, this is just what they look like a bit. This is actually just for a sign, but it's not strong. But this is a tripod basically with a tool rest on it. Now, by using one of these and by doing outboard churning, all of a sudden, you're not limited by anything. It's basically however big a piece of wood you can put on there until it hits the floor. But there are some very important things to realize about this, and the main thing is, this is totally independent of your lathe. This is not attached to the lathe at all. So the reason a lot of manufacturers don't even sell these anymore where they used to is basically a liability thing. What was happening, and I'm sure you could read this on forums, is if you get a catch, it's very easy for these to tip over. And when that tips over, you basically get wrapped right up in the work, which is exactly what you don't want to happen. So while this is an option, it is not something I would really ever recommend you do because it is a fairly high risk activity. But it does give you the ability with a sliding or swivel head machine to turn basically right to the floor. Would I ever do it or recommend it? No. So yeah, like I said before, right now is a really good time to be a Canadian turner because these Envoy and Regent machines are on an incredible sale. But if anybody else has any questions, you can email me at info@stockhamsupply.com or just comment on the video. Thanks for watching.